Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm creating a grid of 8 3x3-inch thumbnails. So to start off, I'm going to create a border, right? And I want the border to be 1/4 inch along the left and the right edges of the picture plane. Remember, we're not including the perforated edge, so I'm just marking off the perforated edge so you know not to include it in your measurements. I will measure in 1/4 inch at the top and 1/4 inch at the bottom. Do the same thing on the right edge of the paper. So we're going to measure in 1/4 inch from the right edge at the top and 1/4 inch from the right edge at the bottom. I measured in 1/4 inch at the top and the bottom of the left edge and 1/4 inch at the top and at the bottom of the right edge. Now I'm going to connect those two sets of points with a vertical line. Remember, this is a guideline, so it's very light. Now I'm going to measure 2 1/4 inches up from the bottom on both the right and left sides. I'm going to connect those points. And then 2 1/4 inches at the top, from the top edge down. And I'm going to connect those points. I'm getting rid of the excess lines that I don't need. And now I have this border that is going to be easier to divide into 3x3-inch squares. So to divide this into 3x3-inch squares with a 1/2 inch space in between each square, I'm going to line my ruler up to the top edge of the border, and I'm going to count out 3 inches and make a stitch mark, and then 1/2 inch, because that's going to be a space. And I'm going to slide my ruler and line it up with the 1 inch stitch mark so I can count out my 3 inches and 1/2 inch space. And I do that all the way down. And you should have 3 inches left over. Okay? And do the same thing along the bottom. And then you should have 3 inches left. Okay? And now I'm going to connect those sets of points. Now I'm going to divide the left and right edges the same way, because this is a 3x3-inch grid of thumbnails. Okay, so I'm going to line my ruler up to the bottom line and count across 3 inches. Half an inch space. Three inches. Okay. Now do the same thing over on the right edge. Okay. And then I can connect those sets of points. Okay, so now you have a grid of 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 thumbnails with a 1/2 inch space between. I'm going to erase away the guidelines that I don't need. Okay, that is your grid of 8 thumbnails that are 3 by 3 inches each with a 1/2 inch space between them. As you can see, I've went ahead and labeled each of my thumbnails: detached, touching, overlapping, penetrating, union, subtraction, intersection, and coinciding. And those are the compound shape interactions that I'm going to create in each of these corresponding thumbnails using a square and a triangle this time.